Hey guys, what's up? My name's Jen. I'm a former flight attendant, turned travel agency owner, travel commentator, and we are so back. New year, fresh start. We're back. With us being back, Foodie Beauty is also back, and she came out with the travel vlog, which is a gold mine for me. So we are going to review her travel vlog. I briefly went through it real quick just to make sure that it was watchable content. So grab your beverages. I got my coffee and let's just jump right into it. I hope you guys had a great holiday and happy new year. I did take a little break just to kind of reset myself, enjoy the holidays with my family, and just kind of like bring in the new year really relaxing. I started reading again and I absolutely love it. I am obsessed with the new books that I'm getting. So glad we're back. Let's get right into it. And Foodie's vlog, her vlog is called I Traveled from Kuwait to Montreal, Canada Travel Vlog. I think that is so interesting that she flew into Montreal when she was all worked up and pissed off over French fry girl going into Cornwall to pick up some of her Thanksgiving food or whatever. I just think that is so rich. Girl, like you also flew into her town. Anyways, I will never understand. Here we go.
Hello, Foodie Beauties.
Hi there, Beezers. Want a personalized video from me to you that you can keep for.
Eh.
Bye.
All right, all set to go to the airport.
Wow.
It is
The filters be filtering. Like, it is amazing how she can look like a completely different person. Wild. Down to her skin tone and texture.
about 1 a.m. My flight's at 4:30. I like to be there a bit early. 3 hours ahead of time for international flights is what's recommended. So it takes about a half an hour to get there. So let's go. Hello from the Kuwait International Airport. So I
am always impressed with her vlogs and not impressed with her, but impressed with the airports in the Middle East. They always seem so clean. And it's not that US airports are not clean, but there's just like a more modern vibe to it. The upkeep does seem a little bit better. Things do seem a little bit cleaner. I don't know if that's just how it's coming across, but I do have to say that I enjoy seeing the various airports in her travel vlogs because they're airports that I haven't really been to. Some of them I have, but the Middle Eastern airports I have not been to.
bit early for check-in, so I decided to go to Caribou Coffee here just ahead to have a drink before going into security. So I had a hazelnut latte.
With her situation with her bowels, I guess, I am shocked that she always is drinking a coffee in the morning before her flights. As you guys probably know, coffee is a natural laxative. And with the whole coughing and shitting her pants episode we had in Thailand, the fact that she's gonna go on this 17-hour journey drinking coffee from the very beginning, just always surprises me. She doesn't like to use the lav while she's in flight, so that kind of doesn't make sense to me, why you would fill yourself up with coffee right before you go. But I guess she did say it was 1 a.m. So that being said, I don't drink a ton of coffee at the airport. I usually am doing tea and just trying to stay as healthy as possible. And I don't do a lot of coffee just because of the caffeine throws you off. I want to try to sleep on flights if I'm flying internationally and all that. And the whole I don't want my stomach to be upset thing. So I grew up with Caribou Coffees in the Midwest and I love Caribou Coffee. So I kind of miss that. But it's funny that they have them over there.
It was not too bad. So yeah, enjoy the view here of the airport while I have my drink.
So and then I'm really early
into check-in. Here is check-in. As you can see, it was very busy and I had to wait in line standing for an hour and 10 minutes.
God forbid she had to stand that long. Do you guys notice that Salah is not recording any of this? She always shows him, and we always see him like recording her doing the full body shot while they're waiting or checking in. And I find that very, very curious with the current situation, him joking about divorce. They're going to enter their divorce era. Like things that feel very, very fishy surrounding her. And I wonder if she even got a ride from from him or how she arrived at the airport because he's not with her. Or did he just dump her and go and she's by herself this time, which I don't think has ever happened. She's always had him with her. She does seem a little bit more reserved right now too in the beginning. So I do have to say that her travel vlogs are probably some of her best vlogs, and I think it's just because there's a clear beginning, middle, and end to the travel story, and she has nothing else to do really when she's traveling besides just kind of like document her journey rather than sitting through her live chats. I do think her lives and other videos she puts up, these are definitely some of my favorite, obviously also because she's traveling. She always likes to come across as this big travel guru, this traveler, and she's always like, at least I travel. And that is true. She does travel probably more than the people that criticize her, but I still would not say that she is a traveler or a professional traveler because going back and forth from the same destinations is not really a thing. Although she does now have experience with long haul flights, she really hasn't expanded outside of her little bubble. The only time she's kind of done that we've seen is even to Bangkok. Now she's been to Thailand twice, so she's more comfortable with that. But going down to Cuba, that was a little bit different. And then coming back, I want to see some variety, Chantal. I want to see some action behind this travel personality that you're trying to take on.
After security, I headed to gate 22,
Does
where I
seem
had
kinda
to
busy
wait a little bit
compared to
for my flight out of Kuwait.
other times.
I will miss you, Kuwait. See you.
Does she not look upset in that? Like, she looks pissed off in that clip. I gotta see that. Hold on.
I had to wait a little bit for my flight out of Kuwait. I will miss you, Kuwait. See you.
She looks so mad. Boarding. Oh, the flight attendants look cute. The guy sleeping behind her. I'm sure he really appreciates being in your video. She look like she's crying, or like, why are her eyes so like glossy? And is she okay? You guys, is she actually okay? I don't know. Whoa. Seatbelt extender bees. She does not have a lot of room. Oh man, I can't believe like how uncomfortable she must feel. I've talked about this before. I gained like 30 pounds and it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been traveling and flying and being on an airplane. It was actually awful. And just losing some of that weight has made such a huge difference when I'm flying. It's just, I just can't imagine like how icky she feels like with jet belly even because she's eating on these flights and just being squeezed in for that long. I don't know how she's doing these big trips without it taking so much out of her. I mean, maybe it is, and we're seeing kind of that declining process happening, but golly, that is just feels like it would not be comfortable. Aww. It is so funny when you're traveling, you do hear like the flight attendants start getting ready and going through the aisles, and everyone kind of like wakes up and gets ready. I flew Korean Air and they actually turned all the lights on when we were eating, and then they make everyone put their chairs up so no one can be reclining while they're eating. Everyone's kind of awake and eating their food without seat in front of them being reclined into them. It was pretty nice actually. Although like at some points I wanted to go to sleep because I finished and before the service was done or whatever, but I do think that was pretty cool. Here it still seems like it's pretty dark when she's getting served. Just interesting how different airlines do it, especially internationally, and how they run. That's why it's fun to try out different airlines too. We are up in her face. Ugh.
So airplane bathrooms are a fear of many as they're so small, especially if you're plus size. But this bathroom was actually pretty spacious and yeah, wasn't too bad.
It looks pretty clean too. This is definitely something that I hear quite a bit with plus size travelers, that being a little bit nervous going into the lab, and some are so extremely tight, especially US carriers. The labs are very, very small. I am like a mid-sized person person and it's small for me. This is a true issue that people can have. What I will say is if you're traveling internationally, typically the labs are a little bit bigger. And then if you go use the labs in the mid cabin area, depending on the aircraft, but around like a door 3 on an Airbus 330, you are going to have a bigger lab, and there is a lab that is accessible. So if someone were in a onboard wheelchair, they could be in there and kind of move around. So that lab is obviously going to be bigger, and that is a really good one to use if you're worried about space and wanting some more room. Ask the flight attendants when you get on board and see, is there a bigger lab on the aircraft, or is there a lab that has a little bit extra room? Would you recommend on the aircraft that you could use? For international flights, you are supposed to use the lab in your cabin. If you talk to them and speak with them, maybe they're able to accommodate you otherwise. It's for safety for one thing. They don't want people lining up. If you need a more accessible lab for you, then I think they would accommodate you for that and allow you to go to a different cabin to use that. I will say international flights, you would think like the first class, business class bathrooms would be bigger. They're really not. They're not big at all. And they're depending on the aircraft, again, it's just like how they put them in up by the flight deck. Typically, the most accessible lab is going to be midway, like in the center of the aircraft. So make sure to ask your flight attendant. And if this is a concern of yours and you're worried, look up the aircraft's layout. Sometimes you can kind of tell which labs are going to be a little bit bigger. Ask the flight attendants when you get on board if they recommend a certain one that has a little bit more space. Just ask and educate yourself, because I think that is going to alleviate some of that stress of the unknown for you. She's such a random clips. Oh, that's such a long flight.
And I have to say, it was the best thing ever.
Really debated this in my mind if she's been booking 2 seats or not. There's no way she's been getting away with getting an empty seat next to her all these times. But I also wonder if she was told that if she's going to fly, she needs to buy 2 seats. I know some people have debated that before, that could be the case. I think that we can tell that she is a lot more relaxed and comfortable during this trip. So far, she seems like she is. Her last flight, I think she was like really upset with like a guy who was sitting next to her, and she was kind of like skinny shaming him. I don't know. It was so weird. And she was just upset by certain things with sitting next to people, and there was issues and all of that. So just to avoid all of that, getting that extra seat can be so helpful, really make a difference in her trip. I've always thought that if she was going to get an extra seat, she would tell us that she's got an extra seat and just kind of flex on that. Who does she fly on Qatar? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go research what their extra seat policy is. Okay, I'm actually going to share my screen with you because they have a whole section about getting an extra seat. Let's take a look at what it has to say. Okay, so here is from the Qatar Airways website. They have a whole section called Extra Seat for Personal Comfort. So let's kind of see what they say. It says some passengers may request an extra seat for either their personal comfort or medical reasons. Please ensure that ASR advanced seat reservation is done at all times. When making this reservation for your customer, the following key points needs to be considered. This be an actual travel agent website. Very helpful. So when it says the EXS that is going to be the code that pops up on either their ticket or their record as well. And that's how the airport employees or airline employees are going to see that it's an extra seat, because if someone goes and sits in that seat, then they have the right to be like, no, this is a seat that I also have. A passenger may need an extra seat for personal comfort or medical reasons. A maximum of 3 extra seats can be reserved in addition to a passenger seat, depending upon the aircraft and configuration. That's a lot. That's really interesting. 3 extra seats, kind of nice. If a passenger is requesting for more than 1 exit row seat, PNR, which is their record on file, needs to be booked with 2 seats, 1 seat for passenger and second EXST, which is the code for the extra seat. Once ticketed, inform Qatar Airways representative to block the seat, and if the passenger requested to cancel the seat, which is already blocked, it also needs to be communicated. Let's see, extra seats are charged at the available published fare for which there is inventory available, and changes and refunds may subject to same conditions as fare purchase. Let's see, extra seat charges collected on passenger's ticket as a queue charge. Taxes are charged only once, so she does not have to pay taxes on that extra seat. Okay, so it sounds like you do have to pay a whole nother fare on Qatar Airways for that. And that is my feeling of why I thought she would tell us if she did book the extra seat. Although I think it's very interesting that she's always had an extra seat by her. Maybe the Middle Eastern Airlines are just not as busy and can accommodate for that. It looks like she does need to pay for that. And that's why I always thought if she were to get the extra seat, she would say that. Because of the whole thing of everyone saying that she has no money or whatever, any moment that she can show off that she's paid for something or like show off that she might have had some money in that moment, low-key kind of brag about it just because she had to pay for basically 2 tickets. Since we're doing research, let's see how much a ticket from Kuwait to Montreal would be. So, okay, Kuwait to Montreal flight. This is for end of January, February. Qatar Airways is $898. I had a feeling that they were definitely below 1,000. I don't know if she booked last minute, which it kind of seems like this trip was, or if she already had it booked. It depends, but that's really good for the distance that she's traveling. That's a really good price. The fact that she's also starting to rack up miles, she might have been able to use miles on the extra seat. You know, she has said that she's paid $1,600 before too for a ticket. That is kind of the price, although I think pricing is going to be a little bit better right now just because of the time of year. But yeah, it looks like we're seeing around just under $900, which is a very good price. You can easily end up spending a lot more than that when traveling that long of a distance. Let's get back to her vlog. I just wanted to look up a couple different things. I just want to break down some of the travel parts of it.
As usual, having an extra seat, oh my gosh, my makeup is everywhere, was just much more comfortable.
Oh man, they have a long way. Oh, so in case you're just as directionally challenged with where things are in the Middle East as I am, I'd say I'm better than the average person, but I didn't realize that she had to backtrack to Doha and then go back over Kuwait. That's kind of sucky. As you can see, Kuwait is at the top there. So she had to backtrack to Doha to catch the international flight. Now they're flying back over Kuwait on to Montreal. I never realized where Doha was. I honestly never even heard about it until her vlogs. So there's something for you. I guess she's kind of teaching us some things. That's like a good few hours backtracking. Kind of sucks. Okay. Actually, I kind of like that she's showing this.
So for most overnight flights, international flights anyway, with Qatar, they give you this little overnight kit. Has a eye thing that you put over your eyes, eye mask, and some socks in case you get cold, some earplugs, which are nice, and a toothbrush and some toothpaste.
Now, we do see this with US carriers as well. They give like a little kit for traveling internationally. This seems like it's a much better quality than the ones you get in economy for any US carrier. That's pretty nice. I don't think in economy you usually would get a toothbrush. I think that's going to be upgraded seats. You get that. Obviously, in business class, you get really nice little kits to use for the overnight flight. But this is actually pretty nice. Qatar Airways has always seemed like it when she's shown it seems like it's a very nice airline. I don't always agree with what their CEO is doing and saying, but it does look like it is a nice, comfortable ride.
The movie I decided to watch on this flight was Trap. I've been wanting to see it. The M. Night.
I don't have her in fast speed. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay, I have her in 1.25. Oh,
Shyamalan
Lord.
movie. I would have to say it wasn't the best, but it wasn't as bad as most people were making it out to be. So I actually enjoyed it, and it passed a good 2 hours. So yeah. So the first meal service, they called it lunch, came with a multi-grain bun, and it also came with a fruit cup of sorts and some muesli and yogurt, which was not bad, not too bad. And of course, I have a Coke Zero. And for the main event, we have a creamy chicken stew with some wild rice and some red peppers and a bottle of water. And the food with Qatar Airways is always delicious, and this was no exception. It was good. And
what I do love about this is that there are these like healthy side options, like that fruit cup. Having fruit on a flight is so nice, and kind of rare to have good fruit on a flight. The muesli, that's awesome. I love that they get the mini cans. It just makes sense instead of like constantly pouring cans and using cans up. Like, why wouldn't you just give people the mini cans? Or if you guys don't know, you can ask for the whole can. When I was a flight attendant, I love just giving people the full can because it's way easier on me to crack it open and give it to you. I like the idea of the mini cans. And what I don't like about this is such a creamy meal. Again, I just think about her stomach, and on top of Jet Belly, adding the coffee, and now we're having a creamy, what did she say it was? Like a creamy chicken entree. Just for me, I try to avoid anything like that when I'm flying, just so I feel a little bit better. Kind of surprised since it's like, a predominantly Muslim area. You see so much of these little holiday touches throughout the video, but I guess there are a lot of Christians over there too. So that also makes sense.
Because it's the holidays, they give you a candy cane as well. At one point, we had a pretty bad bout of turbulence, and I'm not going to lie, it scared the lights out of me. Yeah.
Those do look pretty rough.
At some point, I fell back asleep.
I imagine that there might be even more turbulence during this time of year because that hot air and cold air combine, and that's what kind of causes more rough turbulence. So I wonder if as the air's cooling in Kuwait and everything else is still kind of warm, like that mixture creates more turbulence. Flight attendants, they're dressed so nice and they look so good. I love that.
But was awakened by the sound of snack service, which always wakes me up. And
There's a lot
this
of
time they
close-ups
gave
of her
us some
face.
kind of puff pastry. It was like a puff pastry kind of sandwich with some kind of spicy chicken. It was actually like really good, not gonna lie.
Look at how swollen her hands look. Like you do get puffy, but that's why I would avoid eating the super, super salty food. Pretty, but I have no idea what that means. We're going to educate ourselves. Okay, I just looked that up. It means glory to Allah. She could have put that under it so we could learn.
This was the last meal actually, was some kind of chili beef con carne with Mexican rice.
It sounds good. It really does sound good. And that looks pretty good. Is that what you want to be eating on an airplane? I don't know. Maybe because it's towards the end of the flight now, it's a little bit better. Just very interesting, the choices of the really creamy rice entree and then now some sort of like chili con carne. It's quite the meals.
And a multi-grain bun, a cheesecake of sorts. It was really good. Cheesecake parfait.
Look at her hands.
Salad. I don't know what the orange stuff was, but I didn't like it at all. And of course, I had a Coke Zero, and the whole meal was actually delicious. It was my favorite on this flight. Well done, Kat.
Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, it is like 5,400 miles, which is a lot. So she definitely is racking up the miles when she is flying, and I bet she's able to pay for her extra seat or like some of these flights that she's taking with her miles, because that is really good. Now, if they were to get the credit card where they could be earning the extra miles and stuff like that, that would be pretty smart. That is one thing to keep in mind when everyone's wondering about how she's paying for these flights, how she's paying for the extra seat. Those miles do really add up for her.
Time to land. So I freshened up in the washroom. Here I am stretching and all freshened up, ready to land.
Wow. So pretty. How drastic that changes going from the desert to this. I can only imagine like what your body goes through to try to readjust again. No wonder she's getting sick too, because it's just a completely different climates as well. So I'm surprised we haven't seen her a little bit more sick, but people are always wondering why she's sick when she's traveling. Just this alone, changing environments like this on your body can be tough. That's probably a big reason of it. Of course, her not being in the great physical shape that she is, just her health in general doesn't help either. Traveling distances like this can be really take a toll on you, especially if she's not hydrating. She's drinking the Cokes and stuff. I love good airplane shots. I really do. Not a ton of snow though, it looks like. There was recently an airplane that went off the runway landing. I don't know if it was snowy and icy. Usually that's the case, but that just happened in Canada. I don't remember where, but it was in Canada. Okay, you see that YUL, for those of you who don't know, that is the airport code for the Montreal airport, YUL. And all major Canadian airports start with a Y for their airport code. I've had to memorize the airport codes back when I started in reservations. The airline that I worked for, I have all these airport codes in my head. I know most of them. A lot of them I've started to forget as I don't use it as often anymore. All of the major Canadian airports start with Y, so that's one way to recognize a Canadian airport.
So I'm just waiting My mom, my sister.
Which that is the immigration check-in area. You're not supposed to record that too, Chantal.
They do it because I just take the bus to get my car. They're here.
She looks cold.
Okay, I'll see you guys later. It's freezing. Oh my god.
Thanks for the
All right,
update.
guys, we are leaving the airport, headed home, and I just wanted to say thank you for watching this journey. I hope you enjoyed, and please stay tuned for more videos, many more vlogs of my Canada stay, including an explanation as to why I came, why I didn't tell you guys.
No.
But I will let.
Does this mean that she's actually going to talk about the visa and why she came and what's going on? She kind of left that like a cliffhanger. I want her to upload another video. That is it for her vlog. So my final thoughts are this round of traveling seemed to go a lot better for her. And I think that has to do with the mental state that she was in and the fact that she knew she was going to have another seat next to her and didn't have to worry about that. We didn't get a ton of updates this time of like how she was doing within the airport during that connection change and all of that, but she seemed to be doing a little bit better than before. That has to probably come from her getting more comfortable traveling, being in those airports. She's learning her way around and just how to better navigate the airports that she goes in and out of. She knew that she was going to have an extra seat this time, so I think that alleviated a lot of stress, and just knowing that she was going to be able to have some space to relax and be more comfortable, that can make a huge difference in just how you look at the trip and how you perceive it to go. That's why I always say if you have the means to do it, make sure that you're traveling as comfortably as possible for you. That's all we have. Kind of fun to get back into the reactions with the Foodie Beauty comeback video of her travel. Don't know if she's going to have very many more travel videos. Honestly, the next one that I'll probably do is going to glitter and lasers. I have a lot to say about her Virgin Atlantic vlog that she did a little while back. Gonna break down some of that. When we see one of these videos, I sometimes always think that this is going to be the last travel airplane video that we get from her. We are definitely back going to be talking about the girls' travels and what is going on in the travel world. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.